Well guys, as promised, I am back talking about the worst horror remakes and sequels. I actually rewatched these. The past few days have been hard. My Scary Movie Special Part 1 and Part 2 is currently up, and I've been getting a lot of really good feedback from you guys. I'm very, very, very proud of that, and I thank you very much for all the nice things you've said. In that, I promised I'd talk to you guys about these. I don't know why I did that, but here I am. Let's talk about them. What I'm going to be doing is going to be presenting a top 5 or bottom 5, whatever way you want to look at it, of both horror remakes, horror sequels. We'll go back and forth for each one. So let's start off with the 5th worst horror sequel of all time. In my opinion, of course. And as usual, if your pick is not on this list, I apologize. This is my opinion. Welcome to the internet. Number 5 worst horror sequel, The Ring 2. Somehow this movie is actually directed by the original director of the original film, the Japanese version. What happened? Because this is a completely unscary movie. Nothing about this movie was disturbing or creepy like the first one. It wasn't even interesting. It was horribly shot too. That was the most shocking thing to me. This one shot early on in the film that like zooms in really fast on the kid's head when he realizes he's about to die. It was so bad. It looked like a made-for-TV movie from like 1998. Okay, number 5 worst horror remake of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street. I've actually heard legitimate people who have said, I like that movie, Chris. Why are you hating on it? I don't understand why you like it. That's cool if that's your opinion, man, but let me give you this little bit of knowledge. Rooney Mara, the star of this movie, has publicly said that this movie almost made her quit acting. She hated the experience of making this film so much and the eventual product that turned out from her work that she almost quit acting entirely. This movie is so horrible. It's a type of movie that just is like, well, we'll just do a couple shots that were in the original film. We'll like tribute them, actually copy off them completely. We'll make the fans happy with like the hand coming out of the bathtub and everything. We'll do stuff like that. They'll like that stuff. And then we'll add like this backstory where Freddy is a child murderer. They completely missed what made the first film great, which was the tone, the creepiness, the unsettling, the dreamlike state, the cool fantasy-like element of it. All gone from this movie. Okay, for the 4th worst horror sequel, I almost put Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, because a lot of people view that as one of the worst of the series because it does not even contain Michael Myers in it. But then I realized, you know what? At least they had the respect to say, Michael Myers died in the second one, we'll leave him dead, we'll go a different direction. They at least tried not to make it some consistently reappearing ghostly killer that he eventually became with absolutely no suspense or no scares whatsoever. They at least tried to go in a different direction. Movie still sucked. Big time. But to me, the most offensive Halloween sequel is actually Halloween Resurrection. It's the one where in the opening scene, spoiler warning, don't watch any of these movies. They were like, Jamie Lee Curtis, can you come back to this movie? And she's like, sure, if you kill me off. Okay, we'll have Michael Myers come back in the opening scene and kill you because you went nuts because you actually did not kill him at the end of Halloween H2O. That was a random guy wearing a Michael Myers mask, and now you're tortured by that, and so you're in a mental institution. Michael Myers is going to come back and stab you and then walk away. That's the horrible part of the movie, right? No, actually it contains Busta Rhymes karate chopping Michael Myers through a window.
Fuck with me? Huh? Fucker.
This movie... Okay, the 4th worst horror remake of all time. This is a movie that I, admittedly, didn't even finish. Couldn't even sit through this movie. I watched part of it, and I said to myself, I can't take this anymore. I cannot take any more of The Fog. The remake of John Carpenter's film contains nothing that made the original film fun. Now, I'll admit, The Fog is possibly a movie that could be remade. I didn't think it was a terrific, amazing movie. It was a suitably creepy movie where I thought the nighttime scenes were very well directed and very creepy, but the daytime scenes I felt were very uninteresting with characters that were just kind of there. Like Jamie Lee Curtis was just kind of in the movie. I didn't really find her character that interesting. I thought, you know what, that could actually maybe be remade and actually maybe be better. No, not really, because they got a director in there with absolutely no vision. He's just like, hey, let's get some guy to press record on the camera and he'll do the movie, right? Yeah, okay, good. And we'll get the guy from Smallville. Yeah, that's how we'll do this. Cheesy special effects, uninteresting characters, no scares, horrible movie. There are a lot of Friday the 13th movies. There's quite a bit of them. In fact, the original Friday the 13th, I think it's kind of not even really all that great. It's just kind of like this cult classic movie where people can watch it and have fun with it. I don't really consider it really that good, to be honest. But at least it didn't take place in space, like Jason X. It's in space. It's in space. That's really all I have to say about this movie. It takes place in space. On to the third worst horror remake of all time. Speaking of the last film franchise, Friday the 13th, the remake. This is a movie that, again, just like Nightmare on Elm Street, they're like, well, we don't really have to remake it, right? We can just kind of like, we'll call it that. And we'll say it's a remake, but it's not. It's just Jason killing people again, and we want to use the original title and put a whole bunch of needless, never-ending sex scenes in there. That'll get the teens in the seat, right? Yes? Okay, good. Oh, and lots of blood, please? But make it be really dumb. And we need Jason to set booby traps. That's what we need. We need Jason to set booby traps and blood, right? And some boobies. Yes? We need the boobies and the booby traps. That's what we need, right? Good. There's a checklist for these types of movies, and this movie has them all. It's porn with Jason. Jaws the Revenge, or Jaws 4, as you might like to call it. This movie stars Laureen Gray, who at the time was apparently, or maybe still is, I don't know, married to the president of Universal. I wonder how she ended up in this movie. This movie also has Michael Caine, the poor man. Somehow he's in this movie. A ruby the size of a tangerine. You wanna know how they kill the shark in this movie? Yeah, they put like a sonar thing like in his mouth that emits like this signal that makes him come out of the water and like bob on his tail fin and go because apparently sharks have vocal cords and they growl a lot. And as it's bobbing on its tail fin somehow, like just balancing, the boat rams it. Now in one version, he just explodes. He just explodes. I don't know why. But there's like another version out there that I saw on TV once and is on YouTube where the boat like pierces him and blood's everywhere and then he just like falls down into the water. Terrible movie in every regard though. It's the type of movie where like, hey, let's just have the mechanical shark pop up every once in a while and have Laureen Gray talk about how Roy Scheider died. Yeah, let's just make Roy Scheider die. There's a great idea. Let's take one of the coolest characters ever and just kill him. It's Chief Brody. He's still alive. Trust me. He's alive. Him and Hooper swam to the ocean, and in Jaws 2 he rescued those kids, and he's happily living. That's where he is right now. Now on to the second worst horror remake of all time. The 1998 version of Psycho. Or should I just say the 1960 version, colorized, starring Vince Vaughn, Julianne Moore, Anne Heche, and Viggo Mortensen, directed by Gus Van Sant. The term shot for shot is sometimes used kind of loosely, where they're like, yeah, they kind of redid certain scenes the same way. No, this movie literally is a shot for shot remake. They actually try to recreate every single shot in Alfred Hitchcock's original Psycho. What in the world is the point of that? Who thought that was going to be a good idea? Hey, let's make Psycho and have Vince Vaughn be the guy. Why don't we just make The Exorcist again and have Owen Wilson play the girl? Oh man, oh, I'm being possessed. Wow, I'm being possessed. Wow. That's... There's no point to this movie. It's so bad. They like inserted pictures of pigs in the middle of the shower scene. What does that even mean? What? Okay, so the number one worst horror sequel ever. Oh my god! Troll 2. I watched Troll 2 under the best circumstances ever. I had like 5 friends and we had like popcorn and soda and candy and it was like Friday night and we watched it and it was pretty amazing. It's a funny movie. It's the most like unintentionally hilarious movie. It's incredible, but it is truly awful. It's like the kind of movie where you can tell everyone who was filming it was like behind the scenes going like, my career is over and I'm going to die. One of the scenes that isn't really that widely publicized that is actually pretty amazing is the scene where the kid feels like, hey, oh, my parents are frozen. They're all frozen. I have to pee on them to unfreeze them. And he almost does. I remember that scene. Oh boy, Troll 2. I mean, even the first Troll was pretty awful. It had Julia Louis-Dreyfus in it. That's about all it had. There's even a documentary called Best Worst Movie, and it's all about Troll 2. It's pretty entertaining. Check that out. Alright, guys. So the worst horror remake ever. Oh! No, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! The Wicker. Nicolas Cage. This is also a very unintentionally hilarious movie that I very much enjoy watching, to be honest, because it is so funny. Where else can you see Nicolas Cage in a bear suit punching a woman? You can't see that anywhere else. This is like the epitome of, we were trying to make a serious movie and it just didn't work. There are movies like that, like The Room. Admittedly, this film has better acting than The Room, but I am so entertained by Nicolas Cage. I can't explain why. I just love the guy. I think he's awesome. Rose Byrne was in the film Knowing with him, and she was talking about how Nicolas Cage and her were about to go on a press conference, and he turned to her and he was like, "I'm gonna do this whole press conference without saying the word I." Only Nicolas Cage, man. But The Wicker Man is truly amazingly awful. It's pretty great. You bitches! You bitches! And it's funny because you can only get the amazing ending on the DVD. That whole B thing was actually cut from theaters, obviously. I know why they did that, but they put it in the DVD, thank goodness, because it's amazing. Well, guys, there you go. If you want to have a Halloween filled with absolute crap, watch some of those movies. There's plenty of other ones I could have put on, like, say, American Psycho 2 or the Halloween remake by Rob Zombie. There's a lot of things I could have mentioned in this list I didn't mention, but those are some of the ones that were most offensive to me. So guys, my Scary Movie Special Part 1 and 2 is currently up if you'd like to watch that if you haven't seen that yet, and a separate video that contains only the skits from those videos, all 20 minutes of them, because we worked very hard on those. We'd love to hear any thoughts you have. Thanks very much as always for watching, guys, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.